Trouble on the line. The museum people were as good as their word. Thomas went at once into the workshop where his buffer beam was soon straightened and a new buffer bolted on. In the workshop was a green engine like Flying Scotsman, but smaller. He was called Green Arrow. He said. Green Arrow was so friendly that when Thomas was mended, he was sorry to leave him. But back at the Great Railway Show, he was thrilled to see instead one of Stepney's brothers, Boxhill, an engine he remembered from the old days. Thomas was moved to a special position. Said his driver. Asked Thomas. He was anxious to make up for the parking ticket. One morning, Thomas's driver arrived in great excitement. He said. Thomas was delighted. The 3 demonstration lines were different sizes. One was narrower than Thomas's, and a third was used by a very wide engine called Iron Duke. He explained. Thomas wondered if Duck knew about broad gauge. He thought. The engines had to take great care because of the many visitors. Thomas was anxious. Some people were not as careful as they should have been. Thomas had never seen such crowds. He told his driver. Replied the driver. But Thomas did worry. He was afraid that in an emergency, he might not be able to stop soon enough. The next morning, Thomas felt better. The sun was shining and he was looking forward to talking to Iron Duke again. He cantered happily backwards and forwards along the demonstration line all day. Then, nearly at closing time, it happened. Thomas saw something fly through the air and land on the rails in front of him. His driver saw it too. He put the brakes on hard. Whistled Thomas in alarm. Thomas shuddered to a halt and a great cloud of steam wheezed noisily from his cylinder cocks. But he couldn't stop before he hit the bundle. It burst. Sandwiches and crisps flew in all directions, while pop from a broken bottle fizzed over Thomas's wheels. In the crowd, a child, frightened by the steam, cried loudly. Screamed the child, shouted his mother, waving her fist at Thomas. Thought Thomas, comforted his driver. The fireman was inspecting Thomas. He shouted. The driver went to see. He told Thomas. Thomas hoped they had.